Just because people throw it out and don't have any purpose for it doesn't mean it's garbage. The second topic I want to talk about, the waste management strategy, is reuse. 40% of the food produced in the United States is not eaten and wasted. That equals to $165 billion per year. So how to reuse our food? We eat or compost leftovers. And I bet eating is more efficient than composting the leftover. There's a lot of house items we over-purchase, and we do not have a good plan to use them. And before we dump the trash, we probably can reuse some of the household items like glass containers, plastic containers. For example, plastic containers we can clean up and use for storage. And there's a bunch of creative ideas online, and I want you to search and research and develop some reuse strategies. And look at this house. It's recycled from the wasted wood. It was built into a new house with this fancy solar panel, and it looks very interesting house, and it's worth much more than the materials recycled. In this way, it's called upcycle. Okay, so the end product is much more valuable than the trash we use. And other examples for reuse is glass bottles. United States had a history of this. And there's another country, I believe is British Columbia. No, I think it's another country, the British country. They drink a lot of wines. Okay, so it is very expensive to import the glass bottled wines. So they just purchase bulk amounts of wines from other countries and reuse their glass bottles. It's called the new wine, excuse me, the new wine in an old bottle. And there's other successful examples here. So recycling. A lot of people think recycling is a bright future of the waste management. Actually, it is not. It depends on how you recycle it. So we recycle because we want to save the material we extracted, and we want to save the energy. Okay, we get rid of the trash. The primary recycling means when materials are processed into the same sort of product from which they came. Okay, so we can directly use those. And secondary recycling is a process that converts waste material from a product into a different sort of product, such as turning water bottles into blankets. I want you to watch this 6-minute video. It is very important. When I post the videos in my lecture, you must watch it, because this is not a face-to-face setting I can watch with you, but in a real classroom, I watch those videos with everybody. I make sure you watch them. So please, from watching the video, I want you to think one question: does recycling look like an easy or cheap process? The answer is no. Now, let's talk about the secondary recycling. It's referred to downcycling because it needs additional energy. China used to handle a lot of trash for the United States. And in recent years, China is no longer accepting those trash from the United States because those trash is low quality, is heavily contaminated. Using the traditional sorting process, China can no longer process those trash without spending much more expensive labor or resources on them. That's why. So a lot of those trash from this country was just getting dumped everywhere. So recycling is not cheap, it's not free. Okay, watch that video, please. And we generate a lot of trash. This is second time I mentioned Amazon shopping. Paper boxes, paper packaging. In the food industry, it's a plastic packaging. And people dig out those trash to study the trash we dumped. And they found like those paper boards we buried like 30 years ago, they are still like new in the landfill site. Some people even dig out the Kentucky Fried Chicken buried like 30 years ago, and it's still edible. Isn't that amazing? Economics of recycling. Not everything can be recycled. Not everything can be recycled with a cheap price. Sometimes it takes more money to recycle than make those stuff. That's why sometimes people just dump it. The solutions addressing the challenge would be a smart design of the products to make sure every stage of the products could be easily degraded or disposed or reused or recycled. For example, not all the plastic can be recycled. Some of them could be, some of them could not. The advantages of the recycling that is to alleviate environmental effects of landfills and incineration, so to reduce the volume of the trash, and reduce extraction consumption of the raw materials. And processing recyclables save energy and reduces contributions to the emissions, but not all the time. So that's the advantages for some of the waste. And for some other waste, it doesn't work. So the market for recyclable fluctuates to the point where some recycled materials end up in the landfills. I want to talk about the consumption more. Now people have more than enough. They sort of doing this for fashion and the trends and to demonstrate their social status. Okay, so that is really a bad thing. In order to reduce waste, we need to reduce consumption. And I like those cloths. In 1950s, people used those cloths to package the flour, the wheat flour, and after they purchase those flour, they eat the flour, and they can use those nice cotton to make clothes. So it used to be United States, the recycle and the reuse of the material is a great value in the society. But as the economy grows, okay, that increases the prosperity and that advanced technologies, people end up buying more stuff they really do not need to use. So the business corporations are encouraged to produce stuff we can easily reuse or easily get rid of. For example, those hires, this business, they claim that the hires will produce zero waste, which is a fabulous thing. Last word about plastics. Plastic is really bad. A lot of U.S. cities and counties have been encouraging banning of the plastic bags, and many countries do also. It's not very strict here in Texas, but there will be a trend. And the laws, many states have passed the laws to require manufacturers of products and packaging to take responsibilities for collection, recycling, reuse, or disposal of their products. And people even have come up with this idea of sharing stuff. And not every household need cars, or not every household need bikes, and people all can share. And that's a great idea, but it doesn't work in a pandemic like this. But of course, pandemic does not happen every day or every year. But think about the disadvantages and the advantages. But sharing is really good. But I think instead of sharing cars, we can just develop public transit system. And that is more effective than sharing the cars and the bikes. But sometimes sharing cars and the bikes still help. So what can we do? We reduce. Okay, we do not buy stuff we don't need. And we reuse, such as we use reusable water bottles, appliances, utensils, jars, and the bottles. And I would say the reduce is a root strategy for waste management. Remember that, reduce. Okay, reduce, reuse, and recycle.